now, we want to get you all ready for today's big day in Florida. The defendant in that case we're watching, Johnathan Quiles. This is him. He's accused of the rape and the murder of his own niece, who police say he impregnated and killed in order to cover it up. The state's claim is that he shot her to death and then disposed of her body in a landfill. But yet, her body still has not been found. That's one of the challenges in this case for the state. And all standing by live in California, I want to welcome in forensic psychiatrist and body language expert, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Wonderful to see you both. This is not an easy one. Yesterday, it was uncomfortable listening to those text messages that this guy sent to his niece. Predatory behavior, certainly being alleged. The state has the proof.
Yeah, that's bad. I mean, we've got the confession, we've got the messages, we've got all sorts of family members who saw suspicious conduct.
The predatory behavior is just so sickening. Dr. Carole Lieberman, would you talk to us about this? You know, for most healthy people to think about somebody looking at a child in that way, sexualizing a child, trying to get the child isolated, trusting them so that they could abuse them. I mean, it's just beyond comprehension. It's hard to think about, hard to stomach. Why is it that these people think that way, these child predators?
The victim used to be dropped off at his house where his wife would be at work. I mean, he had opportunity. And not that that gives him, not that that's an excuse in any way, but and that's when the people saw him, you know, in these behaviors, inappropriate behaviors, and so on. Why do people do that? I mean, you know, a lot of reasons. In this case, she was there. His wife wasn't there. Apparently, there was also another relative that he is alleged to have been inappropriately sexual with as well. Sometimes it's just, you know, someone has feels overly stimulated. You know, there they are with these two young girls who are very enticing to them and so on. Nobody's there. They're bored. They're excited. You know, there's no excuse for it, of course. But the thing is, the fact that she was there so often allowed him to develop fantasies and allowed him to groom her.
Yeah, the grooming, that's what is just so sickening. You know, it was like he was convincing her that they're in this relationship as if like she owes him something. And it's blood boiling when you listen to this stuff. Dr. Carole, I want to go back to you on the subject of predators and predatory behavior, particularly people who abuse children. You know, I'm not an expert like you are. I'm just of the opinion, having been a prosecutor, that these people can't be rehabilitated, that they're just wired. That's my layman's way of saying it. It's like their brains are just wired to like kids. And no matter how many programs you put them through, they're going to always have that inclination to do that. Is that right or is that wrong?
Well, it's in the middle. There are various ways of trying to rehabilitate. You know, things like showing video or photos of kids, and then shocking the perpetrator or the alleged, you know, the defendant or the person who's in jail, you know, for having committed crimes against children. And then there's certain medicine, there's castration, you know, there are various potential treatments or solutions, but they other than castration, they're not foolproof. You know, it is still a big risk. They do repeat their crime. You know, what I thought was interesting in what we just saw. Well, first of all, there are people who have seen him, you know, being sexual with the niece, and who probably wanted to walk into the sunset, you know, with his baby and so on. But the fact that there is no body, I think it would be hard for the jury to give him the death penalty, certainly. So, you know, that would be something that that comes into play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe the jury will struggle with that. I don't know. I just, this guy, those text messages, that got me. If I was on that jury, that would be enough for me. What he was saying to his niece, this woman is... What a witness. She might be tipping the scales of justice right now, my friends. Let me bring back in my guest. Dr. Carole Lieberman, looking at this witness, I'm no body language expert like you are, but gosh, did she seem believable to me. What's your professional assessment,
please? Yes, she did very much, especially... the way she kept saying, in my heart, in my mind, and I wouldn't have called the police otherwise. Of course, one question is, do the police have a record of her call, and what did the police write down when she called? Did they keep that record, and so on? But yes, she's definitely believable. But on the other hand, she was in her car and it was dark and or getting dark, and maybe she did believe it at that time. But just how good a look did she get of this girl who was in the street?
Mm-hmm. This is huge, and the time is so spot on too, because this witness is talking about seeing Aiyana Sawyer after Christmas, and we know December 18th was the date that they believe she may have been killed. That was when she suddenly vanished. The police are saying her body was likely disposed of in a landfill, but never recovered the body, as we know. And if she was alive with a backpack, defense is going to probably say run away. Ooh, we're going to see more from this bystander witness who could make the defense case. I want to thank you both for being here. Dr. Carole Lieberman, thank you so much. Philip Dubé, thank you.